You may now take your seats. Again, good morning po and welcome to the third quarter National Maritime Council press briefing. We're currently live on our Facebook page po with the National Maritime Council Facebook office Facebook page. We're now down to the third quarter of the 2025. So therefore today, the NMC will provide us updates on the Philippines maritime domain, particularly the West Philippine Sea. So before we start, allow me to break down the house rules for our media coding law. We will proceed with question and answer portion right after the presentation. And prior to it, please state your name and your affiliated network or organization before your question. Each media colleagues are also entitled to ask one question and one follow-up. And lastly, all questions must be in line with today's discussion and presentation. So with us today are the key representatives that will give us updates and developments in our country's maritime domain. So we have Undersecretary Alexander Lopez, spokesperson of the National Maritime Council. We also have Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad, AFP spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea. We also have Commodore J. Tariela, PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea. And the presence of Assistant Secretary Manuel Donato Guzman from the Maritime and Ocean Affairs Office of the DFA. And Director Marisa Gilda Balmaceda, Defense Communications Service of the Department of National Defense. So let us now call on the spokesperson of the National Maritime Council, Undersecretary Alexander S. Lopez, for his opening remarks, to be followed by his presentation for this press briefing.
Thank you very much, CJ. And good morning, especially from our friends from the media and colleagues from the government, and of course from our fellow Filipinos. We are here today for the third quarter press briefing of the National Maritime Council at a time of continuing challenge and resolve in our nation's maritime frontiers. During the third quarter, significant events have tested our collective commitment to safeguarding the sovereignty, sovereign rights, and jurisdiction of our country, particularly the West Philippine Sea. These include a series of deliberate and dangerous actions by the China Coast Guard and its maritime militia against Philippine vessels near Pagasa Island, the harassment of our Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, as well as our Philippine Coast Guard vessels conducting local missions within our maritime zones, and China's unilateral declaration of a so-called marine nature reserve at Baha de Masinloc, which is a long-standing integral part of our territory, covering areas well within our country's exclusive economic zone. These developments underscore the persistent nature of the challenges we face, but they also highlight the strength of our national institutions, the professionalism of our uniformed services, and the unity of purpose among our people in defending what is rightfully ours. Throughout this quarter, the National Maritime Council has continued to coordinate pool of government responses, ensuring that every incident is addressed with firmness, legality, and transparency. We have also advanced diplomatic, operational, and strategic communications measures to reinforce the Philippines' maritime governance, uphold international law, and protect the welfare of our fisher folks and coastal communities. Today's briefing will provide updates on these actions, outline key policy directions moving forward, and reaffirm our government's unyielding position. With that, our very own President Bongbong Marcos Jr., categorically uttered that the Philippines will never yield an inch of its territory or a drop of its maritime rights, even to a superpower. Thank you, and we look forward to your questions after the updates, which I myself will deliver to shown before you. Please focus your attention on the screen before you. And next chart. Just to provide context, again, we would like to emphasize that we are indeed a maritime nation.
Land is to water of 1:7. And with regard to West Philippine Sea, the West Philippine Sea is actually 1/4, next chart, of the whole maritime space. So that's how big our West Philippine Sea is. Okay, next chart. And for our maritime domain awareness efforts, next chart, we have conducted actually three operations: surface, air, and ISR activities. And for surface operations, we are able to conduct 224 surface operations, 43 air operations, and 56 ISR operation or activities. Next chart. Excuse me. Just a glitch lang. Sorry. Mali yung... Sensya na, technical glitch lang. Mali na ipasok na file. Okay, to continue again, apologies for the technical glitch. For the surface operations, we are able to deploy 30 vessels broken down into 8 vessels from the Armed Forces, 8 from the Coast Guard, and 14 from the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. Next chart. For our surface operations, we were able to conduct a total steaming time of 9,784 hours, totaling coverage in miles of 77,000 miles, or roughly 143,000 kilometers, linear measure. Next chart. For our air operations, we were able to deploy 5 aircraft, 2 from the AFP, 1 from the Coast Guard, and 2 from the BFAR, logging a total flying time of around 245 hours and 12 minutes. Next chart. So with our assets deployed, we were actually able to cover 3 times more of the West Philippine Sea area because of the vessel and the aircraft assets that we have deployed. So we have covered the West Philippine Sea quite adequately. This is notwithstanding the ISR equipment that we cannot show because it's actually operation in nature, but it added to the what we call strategic presence that we have over the West Philippine Sea. Okay, next chart. Shown before you are actually the RORE missions that we have conducted, especially by the Armed Forces. For the quarter, we were able to conduct 25 RORE missions. And for the Ayungin, we were able to conduct 1 because the last RORE mission was sometime in June. And the rest, we were able to conduct 3 supply missions for each area or station. Okay, next chart. For the Philippine Coast Guard and in tandem with the Bureau of Fisheries, they were actually conducting the program for our President, Kadiwa ng Bagong Bayaning Mangingisda, or simply the assistance to our Filipino fisherfolk, where we were able to provide assistance to 256 Filipino fishing boats, translated into 187,000 liters of fuel oil, translating into around 14 million pesos, and assorted groceries and gallons of water amounting to around 1.7 million. Next chart. The other areas that were able to provide assistance with are packs of medicine, rice, kilograms of rice, kilograms of wheat, and liters of engine oil, as well as pails of lube oil. So basically, we were able to provide assistance to 256 Filipino fishing boats for the quarter. Next chart. For our maritime cooperative activities done by our AFP as well as Coast Guard, shown before you are the different MCA activities that we have conducted during the quarter. Okay, next chart. For initiatives undertaken by NMC agencies, the Philippine Coast Guard, again in tandem with the BFAR, they were able to conduct the following activities as shown. Next, the PNP Maritime Group and the Armed Forces of the Philippines also we are able to conduct the following activities as shown. Okay, next chart. Our DFA, as of late, actually filed 49 diplomatic protests against China this year. For the details of which and its status, we have ASEC Manny Guzman here. You can ask ASEC Manny later on after the briefing for the updates on the status of the diplomatic protests lodged as of late. Okay, next chart. So we have this Presidential Office for Maritime Concerns. Also, basically, it's the Secretariat of the Council, but nonetheless, it came up with different activities as shown. Okay, next chart. And for the illegal, coercive, and aggressive destructive acts of China for the third quarter, we have recorded the following as shown. Radio Challenges 13, Ramming 1, Dangerous Maneuver 7, Firing of Water Cannon 2, Laying of Nets in the different areas 10, Blocking activities, and shadowing of our vessels 37. Okay, next chart. As for the Chinese vessels monitored on a daily basis, the West Philippine Sea, these are actually as shown. In Pag-asa, we have monitored on a daily basis 27 different Chinese vessels. We cannot come up with specific whether it's Navy, Maritime Militia, or civilian, because they come and go. That's why we came up with a daily average. Kasi today may be different from tomorrow. So, but basically, what we came up with is the daily monitoring status. Okay. So, Pag-asa Island, Ayungin Shoal, Baudi-Masinloc, and Escoda Shoal. Basically, these are the more often areas where we see or monitor Chinese vessels conglomerating or having their presence felt. Okay. Okay, next chart. Okay. And shown before you actually are the more notable incidents in the West Philippine Sea. During the last press briefing, we already discussed the August 11 incident wherein the Chinese Navy and the Coast Guard vessel collided instead because of their dangerous maneuvers. And on August 20, as we have expected because of the August 11, there were marked increase in the presence of Chinese vessels, especially in Bao de Masinloc in Ayungin Shoal. And in September 12, this is very controversial, wherein China came up with a declaration that Bao de Masinloc is a nature reserve. And on September 15, actually, there was a disinformation activity, especially by the Global Times, wherein they launched Artifact Tells South China Sea Truth series. They already came up with 2 episodes. Another one is coming, I think, within the month. But nonetheless, they are, again, disinformation activities. And on September 16, just very recently, the China Coast Guard cannon, the BRP Gumbay Piang, and the PLA Navy having a live fire broadcast aired around the Bao de Masinloc area. This is to frighten our Filipino fishermen. Okay, next chart. We also were very thankful for our foreign partners, our foreign embassies here, for coming up with statements of concern and statements of support for our cause. Shown before you are actually the number of countries that have given these statements of support and concern, as shown. Okay, next chart. I would like to focus on this China's declaration of BDM as a nature reserve. The incident happened in September 10, wherein the State Council of China approved the creation or declaration of Scarborough Shoal as a nature reserve. And our DFA immediately issued a diplomatic protest to that effect, and followed up by a statement from the National Maritime Council rejecting also the China's approval of the declaration. And just late, if you will hear the news yesterday, our president came up with a strong pronouncement too that, as shown, if I may quote, this clearly violates not only Philippine sovereignty, but also the traditional fishing rights of our people guaranteed by international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS, and affirmed by the final and binding 26 award of the SCS arbitration and relevant domestic laws. This was delivered by our president yesterday. So I'm just quoting our president in his ASEAN activity. Okay, next chart. What does China claim? They came up with this move purposely now, to protect the biodiversity, stability, and sustainability of the ecosystem at Wangyan Dao, what we call Scarborough Shoal. And it is an ecological measure to protect the coral reefs and marine biodiversity. Anong implication nito? No? The implication here is it's actually a narrative shaping. It disinforms and misinforms domestic and international audience, present China as a protector of marine environment, but does not take accountability over the damage brought into the West Philippine Sea. If I may provide more implication, next chart. Ano ba itong implication na to? No? We would like our friends from the media and our Filipino people to know, ano ba ang implication nito? There are several. No? One is the legal and sovereignty implication. It is clearly a violation of UNCLOS and the Philippines' sovereignty. It disregards the Philippines' sovereign rights and jurisdiction over Bao de Masinloc. It also has environmental and resource implication, wherein it restricts Philippines fishing and marine research activities, and may also further harm or harass our fishermen and marine researchers for violating the so-called violating protected area rules imposed by China. Okay. Next chart. Another implication is the um, security and strategic implication. It is actually an extension of the gray zone activities. Earlier, we have identified that illegal, coercive, aggressive, deceptive. But with the establishment of this nature reserve, basically it's already an extension also. No? It is a civilian environmental action to expand influence without open conflict and can serve as a legal cover for permanent presence, build facilities, or even serve military purposes. So nakikita natin yung duplicity ng China. And it could also be a reason for them, for China, to challenge our forces within the declared protected area, stating therein a violation daw of their rules. So these are, again, the implications for security and strategic perspective. Next chart. For the diplomatic and regional implication, basically the declaration of the nature reserve erodes rules-based order. It violates international law and disregards multilateral maritime governance frameworks. Okay, next chart. Pero ano ba talaga ang ito? Basically, the declaration of this reserve is the height of China's hypocrisy. If you will remember about several years back, shown to you are actually footages of the giant clams harvested by the Chinese fishermen, being done at the very nose or in the presence of China Coast Guard in the area. Wala silang ginagawa. No? Kumbaga, kinalbo nila yung Scarborough Shoal, and yet they claim that they are the stewards of the marine environment. No? And pictures will clearly show that they are actually not the stewards that they pretend to be. And in fact, during the arbiter ruling, it was determined also that the destruction that the China came up with is basically one of the findings. Illegal harvesting of giant clams that destroyed the marine environment. Makikita natin yun sa findings ng arbiter ruling. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. We are now open for questions.
Okay, well, thank you, Yusek, for the presentation. The floor is now open for questions. Again, please limit your question to one question and one follow-up. And please be reminded that state your name first and the organization you are affiliated with before your questions.
Good morning to the gentlemen of the panel. Ivan Carina, sir, of GMA Integrated News. Yusek Lopez, since China declared Bajo de Masinloc as a nature reserve, what has been the actual situation there?
Well, again, one is they have increased their presence. No, they have increased their presence. Dati nun, mga ilan yan, but now our Coast Guard and BFAR missions would tell that there are more Chinese vessels every time we do our missions there. Every time we encourage our fishermen to fish. So perhaps Commodore Tarela can provide some more latest update.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Regarding the update, as to the current status of Bajo de Masinloc, last week we monitored the Chinese government. They were already they were successful in putting two buoys, one in the center of Bajo de Masinloc, and then the other one is on the northern part. With regard to the deployment of the Chinese Coast Guard vessels, remain to be significantly constant. When I say constant, it's between 6 to 10 China Coast Guard vessels all at the same time kapag nagpapatrolya tayo dito. This morning, we have deployed a Coast Guard aircraft to conduct an MDA flight. And some of the journalists are there. Your colleagues are joined the MDA flight. Ang pinaka-significant na nakita nila dito ngayon is that there are 4 China Coast Guard vessels that they have monitored within the vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc. And there is also PLA Navy warship, but it's quite distant, no? Malayo naman ito sa vicinity ng Bajo de Masinloc. If you're going to ask me if they have increased their level of presence, I would say it's pretty much the same, no? The only instance na masasabi nating tumaas talaga significantly yung China Coast Guard and the PLA Navy warship is whenever they are also monitoring a high number of Filipino fishing vessels that are supported by BFAR and even the Philippine Coast Guard.
Sir, I know we were told to please stick to the topic, but I have a question to Admiral Trinidad, sir, if I may. Yung tungkol po sa nahuling fishermen na Chinese na I think in Ayungin na may dalang suspected to be cyanide. Na-confirm mo ba natin cyanide ito?
It was reported last Friday that there were 2 sampans that intruded into Ayungin Shoal. They were accosted by the personnel of the AFP aboard BRP Sierra Madre, and it was found that they had in their possession liquid that was suspected to be cyanide. The liquid that's suspected to be cyanide is now in the possession of the Philippine Navy personnel aboard BRP Sierra Madre, and on the first opportune time, ito ay babalik natin sa Palawan para ipatest natin. What I would like to highlight here is that they were detected at night. The 2 sampans were detected at night. The Philippine Navy aboard BRP Sierra Madre launched 2 rubber boats, and they were accosted. The Chinese fishermen were accosted. Found in their possession were 4 bottles that contained suspected to be cyanide. On a normal activity like this, had it not happened in Ayungin Shoal, let's say in somewhere else, we would have arrested those fishermen. We would document everything and confiscate all the illegal paraphernalia. But since this was in Ayungin Shoal, arresting them would mean bringing them aboard BRP Sierra Madre, housing them, feeding them, and they may be able to see the pattern of life aboard BRP Sierra Madre. So after documenting everything and confiscating all the illegal paraphernalia, both sampans were towed outside of the shoal.
Do we expect retaliatory action from the Chinese side following this incident?
We do not control what their response would be. Nevertheless, the AFP, same also with the Coast Guard and BFAR, are always ready to respond to any unusual incident.
Any more questions from our meeting?
Good morning, sirs. This is Buzat from ABS-CBN News. Just to follow up from Sir Ivan's question. Sir, what would be the assurance that they won't come back to the Ayungin Shoal to fish again?
Again, we don't control their actions. Kung bumalik man sila, handa naman tayo na ipatupad natin yung ating sovereign rights within Ayungin Shoal. Kung may mamataan tayo na pumapasok doon, we will do the same thing.
Sir, probably some would say na this is somehow a positive action from the Philippine government kasi inahuling Chinese fishing boats. But is it only exclusive inside or within Ayungin Shoal, or can we do this as well sa ibang fishers ng West Philippine Sea?
The dynamics in Ayungin Shoal are different from Bajo de Masinloc. What I would like to highlight here is that the resolve of your government to implement our sovereignty and sovereign rights. Number 2, I'd also like to highlight that using of banned substances for fishing has been a trademark of the Chinese Communist Party, We also noted that in Baho de Masinloc, as mentioned by our USEC, yung ating mga giant clams and other marine life within Baho de Masinloc are already bare. Declaring it as a nature reserve is contrary to their actions of stripping bare all giant clams and other marine life of the shoal. So dito pa lang ay makikita natin their actions are illegal, their narratives are also designed to push further their illegal claim. So ingatan natin ito before we accept any narrative given out by the other side. That's why it's very important na maintindihan ng bawat Pilipino ang mensahe na binibigay ng ating gobyerno when it comes to the West Philippine Sea.
Thanks, sir. Probably last question from my end. To Yusek Lopez, sir, you mentioned a while ago about the diplomatic protest against China. May development po ba? What's the latest from these diplomatic protests?
Actually, we have the representative from DFA here, Sec Manny Bautista, for specific, maybe you can approach him later on. It's just that we cannot have him on board kasi they're not allowed because this is just a spokesperson's thing. So maybe your question you can ask on the side later. Thank you. Dagdagan ko lang yung action ng Philippine Navy, no. Way back, no. Every time we come up with illegal fishers anywhere actually in the West Philippine Sea, if we have the capability, for example, barko nakahuli noon, pwede namin hilain to the nearest station, Coast Guard station, or maybe B4 station. It's just so happen that nasa Ayungin Shoal siya, rubber boat, and the nearest station will be Palawan, mainland Palawan. So the Navy cannot have it as a protocol. Kaya nga, minabuti nila na i-release na lang. Again, baka i-charge pa tayo for humanitarian reasons pa, no? So, we just got all or confiscated all illegal equipment being used. Like, for example, yung compressors, anything that is being used for the illegal fishing, kino-confiscate natin, dino-document. And again, kung kaya naman sana, hilain sana dun sa the nearest BFAR or Coast Guard station, we will do that. But unfortunately, the situation, when was that? Sunday? Friday, did not offer those conditions. But normally, kung pwede namin hilain para even yung the suspected liquid, whether it's cyanide or not, but definitely it's something harmful for the marine environment. So yun ang gusto natin ma-check, cyanide ba siya or any other substance. So yun sana dating ginagawa natin.
Morning po, Tom Alonso of Cable News. Turning sa mga MCA natin, do you think holding them in the future near Baho de Masinloc would be a good measure against nature reserve regulation of China to be able to monitor the activities or at least deter their plans?
Well, the MCA activities with our partners like-minded nations only show one thing, hindi nag-iisa ang Pilipinas. No? So whether it is good, it is really good. Kasi it affords us to really cover that particular area. Kasi kung mag-isa ka lang, alam mo naman yung no-brainer yun. Ang liit natin tapos tatapatan tayo ng malalaki. So it will just weaken our resolve. No? Pero pag meron tayong, when we go there in numbers, and then that's the beauty of it. Perhaps Admiral Trinidad can add more into it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The importance of the MMCA with other like-minded nations is that, number one, we are sending the message that we are not alone. Secondly, we are telling the Chinese Communist Party the world is watching. If we remember, it is only under the current administration of our Commander-in-Chief that we have MMCAs, or joint and combined activities, maritime patrols with like-minded nations. We are grabbing this opportunity in the Department of Defense and the AFP. Number one, to allow the AFP to be able to integrate, to plug and play with modern militaries. Number two, we are showing the world that we are not alone in standing up against the illegal practices, the coercive actions of the Chinese Communist Party. Number three, it is very heartwarming to note, as highlighted by our Secretary of National Defense, that a lot of countries have expressed support and sent their forces here to do maritime activities, to do exercises on land, on sea, and on air. And no one country has supported the claims of the Chinese Communist Party. All of this, when seen in totality, highlights our stand. We stand with international law, and we are backed up by the international community.
Having shown the recent activities for this quarter by China and the implications of the ICAP, I just want to ask Commodore Perea if you want to wish to address groups or officials in the country who seem to, not support the Philippines stand, but rather the Chinese position, sir.
Alam mo, para sa akin, regardless kung spokesperson ka ng Coast Guard or ng Armed Forces of the Philippines or just an ordinary citizen, no? Para sa akin, it's everybody's responsibility to counter all the lies and misinformation pagdating sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. Ang challenge sa atin, paulit-ulit na nating sinabi to, no? The greatest challenge of our fight in the West Philippine Sea is fake news and misinformation. That's why every opportunity na meron akong pagkakataon na sumagot sa mga social media posting ng kahit na sinong tao, nobody in particular, whether you're a politician, social media influencer, or just an ordinary person, I always make it a point na to counter all these lies. Because the chances na maniwala yung mga tao sa sinasabi mo na totoo yun, napakataas na. Before, we used to ignore those kind of posted misinformation. Ang sabi natin, masyadong nagkakaroon pa ng platform ang mga tao na nagpapakalat ng maling informasyon. So dapat we just have to ignore them. But I realize eventually, it is also wrong to think na hayaan na lang sila because you have to consider the number of people following them. Kung etong social media influencer na to, again, nobody in particular, ay may mataas na number na sumusunod sa kanya or sumusuporta sa kanya, ang paniniwala ng mga tao na sumusuporta sa kanya, totoo yun. And if we're going to keep on ignoring this, ang sasabihin din ng mga supporters niya, tama ang sinasabi ng tao na to, mali talaga ang gobyerno. And again, ang issue ng West Philippine Sea, it is not represented by any political color. Whether you supported the former administration or this current administration, ang laban natin ng West Philippine Sea, dapat hindi natin ginagawang isyong political to. Ito ay laban nating lahat bilang Pilipino.
Sir, also about, since this is about education, yung sa DepEd plan natin to include curriculum, are we gonna see this happen in the next school year, and what specifically, or in a craft up to yung curriculum on the WPs and update these things, sir?
Well, the Department of Education, as what Yusek Lopez witnessed during the last NTF-WPS meeting last week, they were able to present the curriculum adjustment for the grade 4, grade 6, and grade 10. Meron na silang kaukulang adjustment sa curriculum na to, and it will be fully implemented next year, school year 2026 to 2027. For our approach right now, ang ginagawa natin, we are engaging the public school teachers from different regions. We allow them to watch the food delivery, the documentary. At least, kumbaga, ito yung maging benchmark nila, no, in appreciating our fight in the West Philippine Sea. And then, we also bring along with us Justice Carpio, Attorney Fretty, National Security Council, and even the National Maritime Council to talk about our policy in the West Philippine Sea. In the next coming weeks, we are going to different regional offices ng Department of Education, and that has been supported by Secretary Angara. We recognize the important role of our public school teachers in educating our youth for them to be completely aware and understand what we are fighting for and why we are fighting for it. Yes, next school year.
Entire public schools muna or private schools?
Well, I'm not really sure, no. Hindi ako gumagawa ng policy ng DepEd. I'm not really sure kung the curriculum that is approved by DepEd, it is also whether it is also mandatory to be followed by the private school. But I think so, no. Kung anong inaprubahan ng DepEd na curriculum, it is also mandatory na sundin ito ng mga pribadong eskwelahan.
Good morning, sir. Gabby Tumalag po from Philippine Daily Employer. May updates na po ba tayo sa rotation and resupply mission sa aluminum?
Rore, sir.
The conduct of the RORE is under the auspices of the Commander of Western Command, and the moment it will be finalized and executed, the appropriate press release will be released. You'll be informed accordingly. We don't usually announce our operations in advance.
Thank you, sir. And last na rin po for me. Given the situation in the West Philippine Sea, meron po ba tayong mga bagong policy pronouncements po sa pag-address ng mga actions po sa WPS?
Well, insofar as policy issuances are concerned, we benchmark with what our president has said. Sabi nila, any disagreements or discourse will be handled peacefully, working through the different diplomatic channels and mechanisms. We'll be working through with our like-minded partners, like-minded nations and treaty allies. And we will be heavy on, again, the diplomatic side. Again, basically is peaceful conduct of the dispute in the West Philippine Sea. Basically, nagre-revolve doon.
Thank you po.
Dagdagan ko lang yung sa DepEd. No? Actually, as mentioned by Commodore Tariela, we have discussed that during the last NT of WPS meeting. Some questions emanated like, why start with grade 4, not in the lower, for example, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So these are actually being considered. And ang maganda ito, it's not only the executive initiative, but also with the legislative. In fact, a law is being passed in Congress, especially by the WPS bloc, and coming up with a whole of government approach to address the West Philippine Sea, awareness issue of the West Philippine Sea.
Sir, may pahabulan ako dun sa deployment natin ng air and sea assets. Yung 30 vessels deployed and 5 aircrafts, is that an improvement? I mean, nag-improve po ba ang ating capability in terms of deployment of resources?
Well, definitely. Aside from improvement, it's more on yung how we schedule. Kasi doon pumapasok yung efficiency and effectiveness of our scheduling. Hindi pa pwedeng banatan ng banat. So even scheduling, because of our finite resources, we try to come up with effective scheduling so that we can maximize our limited resources.
I would also like to add, I would argue na ngayon, for the Philippine Coast Guard, I cannot speak for the Armed Forces of the Philippines. But for the Philippine Coast Guard, mas madami tayong deployment ngayon at mas matagal na. All because of the support and priority of the national government. We want to ensure the safety and security of the Filipino fishermen. Nung magsimula ang taon na ito, inilunsad natin together with NMC and NTFWPS yung tinatawag nating kadiwa para sa bagong bayaning mangingisda. That's why every month, every time na may monitor tayong mataas na bilang ng mangingisdang Pilipino, The Philippine Coast Guard vessels are strategically deployed in those areas na alam nating may mataas na bilang ng pangisdaan. So there are two main reasons. No? One, it's because of the capability of the Philippine Coast Guard. We're acquiring more assets to have more vessels to be deployed in the West Philippine Sea. And most importantly, of course, secondly, is the logistical requirements. Nitong taon na to, mas mataas ang naging suporta ng ating pamahalaan for the West Philippine Sea operation. Kung kaya, if you have more funds for fuel, obviously, it will have more deployments and longer deployments para sa Philippine Coast Guard. Thank you.
Anything else or any more questions? Shall there be none? Let us give back the floor again to Undersecretary Alexander Lopez for his closing statement.
Okay, unless wala natin tanong, no? So allow me now to come up with our closing. Again, thank you everyone for being with us today and for your very insightful questions. As we have presented, this quarter has not been easy. We've faced renewed challenges in our waters, acts that test our patience, our resolve, and our commitment to peace. But let your government be clear. The Philippines will never waver in defending what is ours. Our sovereignty is not up for debate. Our duty is not negotiable. Through the National Maritime Council, we have continued to strengthen coordination among our agencies, support our frontliners at sea, and make sure every action we take is anchored on law, transparency, and the national interests. We are also pushing forward, building better awareness, stronger partnerships, and a united voice in the face of aggression and disinformation and misinformation. To our media partners, thank you for helping us tell the truth, for helping our people understand what are at stake, and for keeping maritime issues front and center in public discourse. As we move into the next quarter, the message of the National Maritime Council remains the same. We stand firm, we stand united, and we stand for the Filipino people. Maraming salamat, and let us continue working together to keep our seas safe, peaceful, and proudly ours. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas at maraming salamat sa inyo lahat.